Have you ever done anything that in the moment you didn't know why you were doing it? In the moment you couldn't explain, why am I putting myself through this? Well, that's exactly what happened to me. Last year, I saw the biggest trend of people doing dry January and also doing 75 hard. I knew for sure that I was not going to be committing to 75 hard. I was not ready for that commitment quite yet. But I was like, you know what? I think I could do dry January. I think it'll be pretty simple and easy for me. I don't really go out. I am in my house all the time. And yes, I do enjoy a drink here and there. I enjoy a beer after work. But for the most part, I definitely already cut back a lot on drinking. So I kind of felt like, okay, I could do dry January. That will be a simple enough challenge for me. And I do definitely want to challenge myself going into this next year. So I did it. I committed. I said, dry January, here I come. I am going to do dry January. Because a lot of people were also doing dry January, there was a lot of mocktail ideas and a lot of things that were on the internet that were also supporting me to continue this dry January. I remember, I think I had like a lunch with my girlfriends, and that was the first time that I had to kind of just say like, oh, I'm not drinking alcohol this month. And they were super supportive about it. And they're like, oh, why are you doing it? And I didn't really have a reason why. I didn't have a reason why I was doing dry January. It was just like, I'm challenging myself. I just wanted to do it. And that theme kind of stuck with me for quite some time throughout the year. I didn't know in the beginning of the year. I didn't know in January that I was going to do this for 365 days. I didn't know that that was going to be something that I stuck to the whole year. It really was something that came in a little bit later, and I do want to talk about that in just a bit. But I just want to talk about January. How was January? January, I would say it was fairly easy. Yes, there was moments where I had to, let people know like I am not drinking alcohol right now. But in that moment, it was just I am doing dry January. I wasn't like I'm alcohol free right now. It really was just I am doing dry January. So it was a little bit easier. There was not a lot of questions that were being asked. It was just like, okay, that's something that she's doing. Great, let her be, right? After January, I went into February, and I was already kind of in a rhythm and a momentum, and I didn't necessarily miss the alcohol. So I'm like, let me just keep going. Let me just take it one day at a time and see if I could continue to be alcohol free. And that kind of was the energy for the next couple months. As the year progressed, the more I found that challenging myself really helped me in my personal growth. It really helped me build up confidence because I was doing things that I before didn't think that I could do. One of the things definitely was being alcohol free. When I was around 21 years old, I'm going to say it just right now, I had a lovely time. I partied, I drank, I really enjoyed my early 20s, sometimes even too much. I feel that there was a certain point in my life that I was going through a really hard time in my life. I was going through a breakup, and I leaned to alcohol to help me overcome the pain that I was feeling in that moment. There was even times where I was drinking alone. So there was a phase in my early 20s where maybe I didn't have the healthiest relationship with alcohol, but like I said, 2022, 2023, I was already cutting back a lot. I still enjoyed though my beers here and there with my family and my friends, so I was not alcohol free. This year, I was doing that. I was alcohol free. So once I started to see the confidence that it was giving me of being able to challenge myself and being able to stand firm in something that I wanted to do, I wanted to continue to do it. But there was some challenging times because I like to have a beer here and there with my family and friends. I was always the one to have a beer with a friend, have a drink with my family. Like I was that person. So when I started going to family parties or started getting together with my cousins and my family and stuff, I no longer was doing that, and having to talk about that or explain that, like saying, oh, I'm alcohol free right now, and them asking me why, and me not really having a firm reason why other than, oh, I'm just challenging myself. It really was something that sometimes was hard, and sometimes I wanted to give into, not the peer pressure because they weren't peer pressuring me, but I wanted to give into the feeling of my own self of wanting to indulge in the moment, but I didn't. And every time that I didn't, I felt proud of myself. I felt a sense of accomplishment because it was hard. It was hard for me not to have the beer when everyone else was having a beer and enjoying themselves. Like I like the social aspect of having that moment with my family and my friends. So being able to navigate that throughout the months was something that some days was harder than others, but every time that I left the parties, every time that I was home, and every time that I made it back home, I really did feel a sense of accomplishment, and I felt very proud of myself for sticking to something that I wanted to do. Then around April, May time, I started to dabble into the idea of I'm going to do 75 hard this year. Why am I not committing to it? I started to question myself. Why don't you want to do this? Is it because you feel that you're going to fail? Is it because you know that it's going to be hard? Like what is stopping you? What is the resistance of you not wanting to commit to do 75 hard? And I started to dabble into the idea of I am going to do 75 hard this year. I'm going to do it around June time. So once I started around April or May time thinking about that, I said, well, I might as well continue to be alcohol free because I'm going to have to be alcohol free for 75 days. And that's fine. I could do that, right? Still in this time, still during 75 hard, I did not know that I was going to be alcohol free for the whole remaining of the year because my 30th birthday was last year. I was going to turn 30 on September 1st, and I was like, I don't know if I do not want to drink alcohol. I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know if I want to be alcohol free for this 30th birthday. Like, it is my 30th birthday. I want to enjoy, I want to have fun. So I'm not sure if I actually want to continue to be alcohol free. So up until finishing 75 hard in August, I still did not know what I was going to do. The week after I finished 75 hard, I committed. I said, you know what? No, I know it is my 30th birthday, but it is completely fine. I am going to go the whole year. I'm already here. It's already the 9th month. I can do this. I want to be alcohol free for this year. And I committed. It was just the last stretch. And I would say that probably the last stretch was the hardest, maybe because I already had a goal and a commitment. The whole full year, I was still, I'm just doing it right now. It's one day at a time. I wasn't fully committed to the full year of being alcohol free. So I think once I did make that commitment, something within me shifted a little bit. And I was like, okay, now this is really like, I'm really restricting myself. I'm really setting a boundary here for myself. And how do I feel about that? And not every day was the same. Not every day did I feel so empowered and I felt great about doing it. There was some days where I was like, why am I doing this? I really do want to just have a drink right now. But I learned the biggest lesson. The biggest lesson that I learned this year was how much strength and how much willpower I have and how much I do not have to give into my thoughts of the moment. If I have a commitment for myself, if I have something that I am working towards, I don't need to steer away from that, even how hard it is, even if life throws some crazy stuff at me and it is hard for me to navigate and I want to indulge in maybe things that are not necessarily the best thing for me, I don't have to do that. That is what this year brought to me. Of course, there was days that I was extremely stressed out, that I, wasn't feeling my best, and a drink in the past would be what kind of mellowed me out, what kind of relieved that stress. So I did have those thoughts in my mind, like I could have a drink right now and I could just, release a little bit of that stress, but I could not do that. And what that made me do is sit in my feelings, sit in what I was feeling in that moment, and be able to navigate and push through with other coping mechanisms. This year was the year that I stayed most committed to my fitness, to my health, to my mental well-being. And I think a lot of it did contribute to me having one thing that I was committed to, one thing that I was really challenging myself to sticking by, and that was being alcohol free. I really wanted to do this video in the park because I just wanted to feel a different type of energy today, but I don't know, my hair is going all over the place. So I'm sorry if that is distracting reacting. But one of the things that I wanted to be very mindful of is not push my thoughts and my commitment to other people and not make them feel uncomfortable because I was choosing to be alcohol free. Those were some of the thoughts that I had to let go of because they never made me feel that way. But sometimes I did feel like, oh, are they feeling some type of way because of this, or because I'm not getting a drink? Are they not getting a drink? Like, I did feel that sometimes, and it was all just me within my mind. They never made me feel that way, and that was one of the things that I also had to manage through. During the holidays, I do feel that it was a little bit harder for me to stay within this commitment because, during the holidays, you're with your family, you're eating, you're drinking, you're having a good time. And I want to say that 85 to 90% of the time, I am a cheerful drunk. I am a happy drunk. Very rarely do I go into, crying and stuff like that. So I would say that, I'm a little bit of the life of the party. So when the holidays came around and I wasn't drinking, there was one specific party where, everyone was having a great time and I wasn't drinking necessarily. I feel that, there was a feeling of things were not really the same because I wasn't in the same energy as everyone else. So the next party that came around, I did make a conscious effort of being a little bit more lively, being a little bit more engaged, being a little bit more in the moment and with them, because it is different. Being the sober one out of everyone that is drinking, it is a very different experience. But it wasn't enough for me to say, I'm going to have a drink right now, because the commitment that I made to myself was more powerful to me. And I knew that my family and friends would understand that this was something that I was doing for me and it had nothing to do with them. And that is my biggest takeaway and my biggest advice if you are considering to go alcohol free, is that remember that you are doing this for you. And the people that love and care about you, they will understand that. You are changing and that is okay. The people that love you and support you will support the choices that you are making, even if in that moment it might be a little bit uncomfortable or they might not know why you're doing it, or even if you don't know why you're doing it, because I didn't know why I was doing it for a very long time. I feel that right now, talking to you about it, I'm kind of putting into pieces, I'm kind of in my mind making sense of why I wanted to do it. And it was really just, I like to live my own experiences. I love to listen to podcasts that inspire me and that motivate me to be a better person. But there is nothing like having your own experience, like you actually doing things for yourself and you actually having memories and feelings that bring you back to why you are doing the things that you are doing. I could listen to people be alcohol free changed my life and everything, but I would never know what it would really mean for me until I did it. And I did it this year, 2024. I went a full year alcohol free and I learned a lot about myself. But most of all, now I have an experience that I could look back to and say, there was days, there was times, there was moments that you wanted to drink, that you wanted to have alcohol, but you didn't. And that is just proof of how strong you are, how strong your mind is, how strong your willpower is, and how committed you could be to your well-being. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful to have for yourself? Whether it is being alcohol free, we're doing the 75 hard challenge, whether it's going to the gym every day, when you do things for yourself and when you start creating experience for yourself that you could look back to, that could prove to you that you are a strong person, that you have willpower, that you could overcome anything that comes your way, that is a very empowering and life-changing mindset that you start to adapt. And that is the mindset that I am adapting now. Now that I went 365 days alcohol free, let me tell you, I feel so excited, inspired, and motivated for this year, because I know that if I put my mind to it, there is no telling what I can do. And I love that I am going into this year with this mindset. I know this could come to a little bit of a surprise to everyone, but I don't know if I'm going to continue to be alcohol free this year. I think I might continue to do January because I want to do dry January again. Why not? I'm already here. I'm also doing another challenge. I started this year going into what other challenge am I going to do this year? And food. I love food. I am a foodie. I love indulging in food. It is my happy place, but I could definitely be eating a lot healthier. healthier, and that is what I'm challenging myself this January. I am challenging myself to eat a whole food based diet lifestyle. I don't know if I want to call it a diet, but I'm challenging myself for this month of January to cut out the processed foods, sugar, and really just stick to whole food for my meals. And maybe that's what it brought me. It brought me being able to look at things as challenges and sticking to them, and knowing that if I put my mind to it, I can do it. So I don't know what this year holds for me. I don't know if I am going to continue being alcohol free, but I did definitely want to share with you because I do feel proud. I feel that I accomplished a milestone, and I just want to thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for coming along in the journey. I know I didn't talk a lot about it in my videos. I mentioned it here and there, but I definitely didn't go into depth in it like I did today. But I hope that you are feeling inspired, that you are feeling motivated for this next year to come. You have the power to create the life that you desire. It is within you. It is not easy all the time, but it is definitely doable and manageable. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and be on the lookout for more episodes of No Edits, Just Liz. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!